What we discussed in the last lecture is we were discussing connect different types of connectedness. We discuss connected topological spaces, path connected topological spaces, and locally connected topological spaces. So one of the example which we were discussing in the last lecture is comb space and deleted comb space. So comb space means we have infinitely many line segments, collection of that. So it is defined as all these vertical lines at 1, 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4 and so on, and also at x equal to 0. And we have the horizontal line also that is from 0 to 1 on the x-axis. So this collection of all these points is a comb space, and clearly we can see that this comb space, you select any 2 points, then you can join them by a path. So by a path means by taking uh, collection of line segments, finitely many line segments joined end to end. So that way you can get a continuous function from a particular point to particular point. Therefore the comb space is path connected, and then we know that every path connected topological space is always a connected topological space. So therefore comb space is also connected because it is path connected. On the other hand, if we remove a particular some points from the comb space, basically the points on the y-axis between 0 and 1, so all those points we removed from comb space, then we get a new set which is known as deleted comb space. So here on the y-axis we are removing all points between 0 and 1, from the origin to the point 0 comma 1, all the points in between them we are removing. So this deleted comb space we want to check whether it is connected or whether it is path connected. So uh, what we are observing here is that deleted comb space is actually connected space, and that we can show by that result which we have proved, that if A is a connected subset of a topological space, and if V is the set between A and A closure, then B is also connected. So we will consider this particular set A. This particular set A, and if we add this point P in that set A, then we will get the, if if we add P in the set A, then we will get the deleted comb space. And we can see that P can be written as a limit of some of the points on A. So this point is P, and that is a limit of all these points, right? So of course I should take it at a little bit higher, but basically it is limit of all these points. What is this point? This is 1 comma 1, 1 by 2 comma 1, and so on. So this 0 comma 1 is the limit of the sequence 1 upon n comma 1. So therefore P is a limit point, and therefore we can apply the result that if I take A is this set, then A union P is in between A and A closure, because P is the limit point. So therefore A union singleton P is also connected, because A is connected set. Why A is connected? Because A is a path connected space, right? So therefore what we have just now proved is that deleted com space is connected space. Using A is path connected, we have proved that deleted com space is connected topological space, because deleted com space is between A and A union P, right? So since A is connected, D is connected by that result, and then actually D is exactly A union P. So what I should write here is a closure. So A is connected, so D is connected, and therefore deleted com space is connected. We have proved a result that every path connected space is connected, and D is connected. So now we will show that the converse of this result fails. So that means D is connected, but it is not a path connected topological space. So D is not path connected with respect to subspace topology coming from R2. So first we want to prove this. So therefore we assume that deleted com space is suppose it is it is path connected, right? We want to prove it is not path connected. So first we will assume that it is, suppose it is path connected, and then we will get a contradiction. So suppose that D is path connected. So since D is path connected, there should be a path between any 2 points of D, and in particular P is a point in D, right? P belongs to D, where P is 0, 1 point. So therefore from P we will get a path between any other point in D if we assume D is path connected. So suppose since we are assuming D is path connected, there exists a continuous function f from closed interval AB to D, such that f of A is this point P and f of B is some another point of D, right? So note that f inverse singleton P is subset of closed interval AB, because closed interval AB is the domain of f. So every inverse image is a subset of domain. So it is a subset of closed interval AB. Now since f is continuous and singleton P is a closed subset of R2, so therefore inverse image of singleton P is also closed because f is continuous, right? Inverse image of closed set is closed set. So f inverse singleton P is connected. We will show that f inverse P is singleton P is also open, right? Singleton P is not open, but we will prove that f inverse singleton P is open set, because we want to get a contradiction. So we shall prove that f inverse singleton P is open subset of closed interval AB, and if we can prove that f inverse singleton P is open, we have already proved that f inverse P is closed. So therefore what we will get is f inverse P will be closed as well as open, and that is a closed and open subset of closed interval AB, but closed interval AB is connected. So if closed interval AB is connected, we cannot have a subset of closed interval AB which is closed as well as open. Otherwise it will give a separation. If I have a subset U1 of any topological space X which is closed as well as open, then U1 complement we can take as U2. So this U1 and U2 will give a separation, right? So that contradiction we will get if f inverse singleton P is open, right? So since we want to get a contradiction, we will show that f inverse singleton P is open. So So this is all I have written here, that F inverse P cannot be open because closed interval AB is connected. So finally our claim is that we want to show F inverse singleton P is open set, where F is a continuous function from closed interval AB to deleted comp space, and P is that point 1, 0 in the deleted comp space, and F of A is P. So let us we want to show that F inverse singleton P is open. So let us, how we show any set is open, we take any element of the set and we find a basis element which is contained in that set. So that way we prove some some subset of topological space is open. So let us choose one point x naught in F inverse singleton P. So now we have already fixed this point x naught. So let us consider an open set V of the point P which does not intersect the x-axis. So what do we mean by that? So let us go to the diagram. So in this diagram, I'm considering an open set around the point P which is not intersecting the x-axis, right? So for this open set, let us call it V, which contains this point P. Okay, so x0 is a point of F inverse singleton P. Now F is a continuous function. So since F is a continuous function, inverse image of every open set should be an open set. So we have taken a fixed open set which is a capital V which does not intersect the x-axis and it contains the point P. So since F is continuous, inverse image of V should be open, right? So so since F is continuous, there exists an open set U containing x naught such that F of U containing V. So this is coming from an equivalent condition of continuity. So when we discuss certain characterization of continuity, we discuss continuity at a point. So this criteria is that criteria that if I have a function f and I have a point x naught, so that f of x naught is p, and if there is a neighborhood around fx naught, that is the neighborhood around p, then I will always get a neighborhood of x naught, u of x naught, so that f of u is contained in v. So once we get this set u using the condition that f is continuous, we will get x naught belongs to u, where u is open set. So since x naught belongs to u, there must be a basis element, let us say b, so that x naught belongs to b containing u, because u is open set containing the point. So we can always find a basis element in the topology. So we get B is a subset of U, and since B is a subset of U, f of B is subset of f of U, and we have already noted that f of U is subset of V. So therefore what we got is we got a basic open set B which contains x naught such that f of B is subset of V, right? And on the other hand, we know that every basis element of closed interval AB in the subspace topology is a subset of R is intersection of open interval CD with closed interval AB, right? This is for the basic open set. So therefore every basic open set in the closed interval AB is always connected. So this will give us the conclusion that this set B is connected set because it is always intersection of this interval with close interval. So you take any two intersection of open and close interval, that is always an interval basically, and therefore it is a connected. And of course x naught is in that, so that is a non-empty interval. And so finally we conclude that the basis element B of closed interval AB is connected, and therefore B is connected, and therefore f of B is connected because f is a continuous function. So f maps connected set to connected set. So this is a property of since topology is a topological since connectedness is a topological property, so it is preserved under continuous functions. So f of B is connected, and if you take any point Q in f of B such that Q is different from P, so we already observed that f is a continuous function from closed interval AB to dilated comp space such that f of A is P. So if f of B contains any other point Q which is different from P, then the selection of V by the selection of V. So what is the selection of V? Selection of V is that V is the open set which does not intersect the x-axis. So since V does not intersect the x-axis, all the points in V are of the form 1 comma n comma t, right? So let us see there in the diagram. So since V is a neighborhood which contains all these vertical which contains points only from these vertical lines, right? They will not contain any point between 0 and 1 on the x-axis because it does not touch the x-axis, and all the points on the vertical line, it is of the form 1 comma n comma some number t, but t is greater than 0. So that is what we are using here, that since we have chosen the neighborhood V very carefully that it does not intersect with x-axis, all the points in V from the deleted comp space is of the form 1 comma n comma t because Q is in f of B, right? So we have proved that f of B is a subset of V. So therefore Q belongs to V, and every element in V which is element of comp space, that means it is in the image of F, are always of this form 1 comma n comma t. And then later on what we are selecting is we are selecting a number r. Now this Q is fixed, so now our 1 upon n is fixed, right? So it depends on which vertical line Q belongs, so that will fix our n. So now n is fixed, so we can fix a number r which is greater than 0, and it is between 1 upon n plus 1 and 1 upon n, right? So r is the number between 1 upon n plus 1 and 1 upon n. So since n is fixed, now r is also fixed. So let us go here. So I have these two lines. So let us call it 1 upon n. This is 1 upon n plus 1, and this point Q is on this line, let us say. So that means I will get a number r between 1 upon n plus 1 and 1 upon n, and now I will consider this vertical line at r. So that will actually divide the whole D into two parts because V intersection D does not contain any point of the x-axis. So therefore, we don't need to worry about these points. So now, using this the number R which we have chosen, and f of B does not intersect the x-axis, f of B does not contain any point of the line x equal to R, right? Because it does not touch the x-axis. So therefore, we can divide f of B into two parts. F of B intersection xy such that x is greater than R, so that are the all points on the right side, on the right half plane of the line x equal to R, and so this is basically the division of these two sides divides the xy plane into two parts. One is on the right side of x equal to R line, and one is on the left side of the x equal to R line. X equal to R line is the vertical line. So FB is divided into two sides, and that will basically give a separation of f of B, which is a contradiction because f of B is connected since B is connected and f is continuous. So this contradiction is coming from our assumption that f of B contains a point q other than P, right? So that was our assumption that q is different from P, which is a contradiction. So therefore we get q is exactly P, and therefore f of B does not contain any point other than P. So f of B is singleton B. So finally we get x naught, which is in belongs to B, which is contained in f inverse singleton P. So therefore, and x naught is arbitrary point. So therefore f inverse P is open set. So therefore we get a contradiction to the assumption that f is path connected. So finally we proved that deleted comp space is not path connected. But we proved that deleted comp space is a connected topological space. So therefore, this is a counter example that every connected topological space need not be path connected. So in this all examples which we have discussed, we use some of the basic results. So let us try to prove those results. So first result which we use several times is that closed interval 0, 1 is connected subset of R. So if you have not seen this proof, then let us discuss now. So suppose closed interval 0, 1 is not connected. So since it is not connected, that means we will get a separation u1 and u2 of closed interval 0, 1. So without loss of generality, assume that 0 belongs to u1. The other case is 0 belongs to u2 can be argued in a similar way. So suppose 0 belongs to u1. So let A be the set of points x between 0 and 1, including 0 and 1. So that closed interval 0 to x is subset of u1. So we will select all the points x such that closed interval 0 to x is a subset of u1. So clearly A is a non-empty set, because if A is an empty set, then we get a contradiction, because that will give us that only singleton 0 belongs to u1, and no other point belongs to u1. So that is a contradiction, because u1 and u2 is a separation of closed interval 0, 1. So A is a non-empty set, so therefore assume that we will get a, and also x is bounded, because u1 is a subset of closed interval 0, 1, right? So we cannot take x which is outside 0 and 1. A is a subset of closed interval 0 1. So it is bounded. So since A is bounded, we can discuss supremum of A. So let us call alpha is a supremum of the set A. So now there are two possibilities, whether alpha is 1 or alpha is less than 1. So suppose alpha is 1. Alpha is 1 means that all x between 0 and 1, the interval close interval 0 to x is subset of u1. So if that is the case, then that will force that u1 is itself a closed interval 0 1. So in that case, u2 will be the null set, right? So and that is the contradiction because u1 and u2 is a separation. So u2 cannot be a null set; it is a non-empty set. So alpha 1 is not possible. The other case is alpha is any number between 0 and 1 and less than 1. So since alpha is a supremum and we know that every supremum is a limit of the elements of the set. So alpha is basically a limit of xn so that xn belongs to the set. Xn belongs to the set A means the closed interval 0 to x1 xn is a subset of u1 because that is the condition of the set A. So we get a sequence xn converges to alpha such that closed interval 0 to xn is a subset of u1, and then we know that u1 u2 is a separation, so therefore u1 is closed as well as open set. So 0 to xn contained in u1, that means xn belongs to u1 and xn converges to alpha and u1 is closed. So therefore every closed set contains its limit points, so therefore alpha belongs to u1. And on the other hand, u1 is also open. So it is closed, but it is also open. So if alpha belongs to u1, that it contains a epsilon neighborhood around alpha, which is also contained entirely in u1. So therefore, this neighborhood, epsilon neighborhood around alpha is a subset of u1. So since alpha plus on the right side of alpha to alpha plus 1 is subset of u1, alpha to alpha plus epsilon by 2, that closed interval if we consider from 0, then it is also contained in u1 because we know that 0 to alpha closed interval is subset of u1. Already we observed that alpha belongs to u1. So 0 to alpha closed interval belongs to u1, subset of u1. And using this epsilon argument, we know that alpha to alpha plus epsilon by 2, that closed interval is also subset of u1 because alpha plus epsilon by 2 belongs to u1. Right? So what is the condition of this set in in u1? So this set is contained in u1 because this is subset of right. So if this is contained in u1, this is also contained in u1. And on the other hand, we already know that 0 to alpha is in u1. So 0 to alpha plus epsilon by 2 contained in u1, and that will give us that alpha plus epsilon by 2 is element in in the set S. I don't know what set we have taken. I think there is a typo here. This is set A. X belongs to A. And so this is the element of A, because what is the condition of elements of A? The condition of elements of A is that the closed interval 0 to x is a subset of U1. Alright. So we observe that closed interval 0 to alpha plus epsilon by 2 is subset of U1. Therefore, this element is in the set A. So it is a contradiction to the fact that alpha is supremum, because if I have a point bigger than alpha which belongs to the set, then it cannot be the supremum. So that is a contradiction. So this contradiction is coming from our assumption that this set is not connected. So therefore, closed interval 0, 1 is connected space. So this is a simple proof using supremum that the closed interval is connected. And once we have that closed interval is connected, then using path connectedness, we can show that closed interval AB is also connected. Because we can always find a path from closed interval 0, 1 to closed interval AB, which is a continuous function. And either you use that f is continuous and continuous image of connected space is connected, or you use the argument of path connectedness to show that closed interval AB is also connected. So this is the standard path which gives the image of closed interval 0, 1 is closed interval AB. So what we proved here is that every closed interval is a connected subspace of real line. And once we know this result, we can prove this for the real line, that real line is connected because real line is union of the interval minus n to n. So what are these interval? It is union of minus 1 to 1, second interval minus 2 to 2, and so on. So 0 is common in all these sets, right? So this is union of the sets which are connected and which are the common points. So we have discussed one result that if I have a collection of sets A alpha which is a common endpoint, then union A alpha is a connected topological space. So that result will give us the proof that R is a connected topological space. So these are the all this is all details regarding connected topological spaces. So now let us move to the next topic, that is known as the compactness. So these both properties, connectedness and compactness, are preserved under continuous function or under the homeomorphisms. So therefore, these properties are known as topological properties. So let us see what is the definition of compact spaces. So if X is a topological space and I have a collection of open subsets of X, let us say Ui, which is indexed by I. So Ui basically belongs to tau X, that is the meaning of Ui's are open. So if I have a collection of open sets Ui such that union of Ui is X, union of Ui is X, and Ui's are open sets, then such a collection is known as open cover of the space X. So basically I have the topological space X which I can cover by collection of Ui's, right? Ui covers this topological space X. So that is meaning of this. So that means every point in small x in capital X, I can find ui such that x belongs to ui for some ui. So topological space is called compact if whenever I am given open cover of X, that means this is given ui is an open set, then I can find finitely many i's i1 i2 in so that I can write this I can reduce this full union by a finite union and still I get the whole space X, right? So basically the compactness is that whatever collection of open set ui you give which covers X, I can always find finitely I will always select finitely many elements from those open sets which covers the entire space X. So the property briefly known as every open cover has a finite subcover. So this second property is known as finite subcover. So if I take finitely many ui's, they still its union is whole of X. So this is a kind of a game that you give me whatever collection of open sets I will give you. I will choose finitely many sets which will cover the entire space X. So let us see some basic examples. The first example is X is equal to R with the usual topology. So since compactness depends on the collection of open sets, therefore the topology is very important which we are selecting. So here in this first example X equal to R with the usual topology. So usual means standard topology we are selecting on R. So consider the collection and consider the collection of open intervals n to n plus 2. So so what are this collection? Let us see whether R is union of all these intervals or not. So if I take n equal to 1, I will get the interval 1 to 1 plus 2. So that is 1 to 3. So first interval is 1 to 3. If I take n equal to 0, it will be the interval from 0 to 2. So this is my second interval, right? So that way if I select the intervals one by one, then since n belongs to z, it will cover the entire real line. And these sets are open with respect to the standard topology, right? So this is one of the open cover of R. This collection of open sets is one of the open cover of R with respect to the standard topology. So if I want to prove that R is compact topological space, then I have to show that for every open cover there is a finite subcover, right? But here I am choosing a particular cover, not the arbitrary open cover. So here basically we will show that R is not compact with respect to the usual topology. So to prove some topological space is not compact with respect to a particular topology, it is enough to choose a particular open cover which does not contain the finite subcover. So that is what we want to show here. So we have chosen this particular cover, and now we will show that if I take any finite subcover of this open cover, then it will not be the finite subcover. So that means it will not basically cover the entire real line. So from this example, I believe that you must have convinced that if I take only finitely many sets from these open sets, then it will be a bounded set. So it will not contain the whole real line. So for example, if I take these intervals 1 comma 3 and then I take 0 comma 2 and then I take 1000 comma 1002, in that way randomly I try to cover the real line. Then if I take finitely many intervals, then the union of finitely many intervals of this type will always be a bounded set. So is open cover of R. So that is what we know from here, right? Now question is that can we find a finite subcover in this case? So answer is no, we cannot find, because if we take finite union of such of the intervals of this form, then its union will be of this form, right, where n1 n2 nk are some natural numbers, and then we can taking maximum of these natural numbers, we can see that this will be bounded by maximum of n1 n2 nk plus 2, bounded above by that number and bounded below by the minimum of n1 n2 nk. This union is bounded, but on the other hand R is not bounded, so therefore R is not equal to this set. So whatever finite subcover of this open cover we take, that will never be the whatever finite sub collection of this open set we take, that will not cover the entire space, so it is not the finite subcover. So it is a bounded set. On the other hand, R is unbounded, so R is not a complex space, because this cover has no subcover. So again, that I'm repeating that we are proving here R is not compact. If I want to prove R is compact, that means whatever given topological space X is compact, I need to show that every open cover has a finite subcover. If I can show that property, then the topological space is compact space. So let us try to see one example of the compact space. So this X equal to 0, 1, 1 by 2, 1 by 3, so on. So this is a subset of R, and we will actually show that this topological space is compact space. So for that, what property we need to check? We have to check the arbitrary open cover of this space, and then we have to find a finite subcover of that arbitrary cover. So let us choose A to be the UI, I belongs to I, be a collection of open subsets of X, so that X is union of UI. So the topology on X is the subspace topology as a subset of R. So basically UIs are the open sets, which is UIs is equal to open subset of R intersection X. So that is basically the open set in the subspace topology. So how we will find from this collection UI, how we will find finitely many UI case, so that it will cover the entire space X. So the idea here is that 0 is the limit point of this set, right? So that we will use here, that since 0 belongs to X, That means if so since 0 belongs to x and x is equal to union of ui, there must be some ui naught. There must be some uis which contains 0. So that ui I will call ui naught. So 0 belongs to ui naught, and that means 0 belongs to ui 0, and ui 0 is open in the subspace topology, so it is of the form x intersection some open set, and in particular even I can yeah. So in particular this ui actually contains the basis element, right? So therefore ui will contain x intersection basis element because it is open in the subspace topology. So therefore 0 belongs to open interval ab, and that will give us b is greater than 0, and since b is greater than 0 by Archimedean property, there is a j such that 1 upon j is less than b, and once we get 1 upon j is less than b, all n greater than j will satisfy 1 upon n less than b, right? And that will give that this set 0 1 by j 1 by j plus 1 1 by j plus 2 and so on is subset of ui naught. So at once itself, whatever neighborhood we are getting which contains 0, it will not only contain 0, it will contain all these points of x. So what are the remaining points of x? Only 1 1 by 2 1 by 3 and so on up to 1 by j minus 1. So only finitely many points are remaining now of x, which is not in this first open set which we have chosen. So those finitely many points we can select some random open sets which they belong, right? So this is 1 upon j minus 1. So this one belongs to, let us say, ui1, 1 by 2 belongs to, let us say, ui2 and so on, and my j minus 1 belongs to uij minus 1. So now this j minus 1 elements, we have chosen j minus 1 open sets, and along with ui naught we have total j open sets. This j open set contains all the points of x, and on the other hand this ui's are subsets of x, so therefore its union is subset of x. So finally we get x equal to union of finitely many open sets. So starting from x equal to union of open sets, we have found finite union of open sets. We have chosen some finitely many points using Archimedean property that will cover the whole space x. So therefore x is a compact space. So the starting cover which we have considered, this x equal to union ui, that collection may be a collection of infinitely many sets, or it may be the collection of finitely many sets. But even if I take the collection of infinitely many sets, this process will give us only finitely many sets. This process will ensure us that it is enough to take the finitely many open sets which cover the entire space. Okay, so let me stop